Hey there, Sart here. So, um, somebody commented on a video earlier about the Empress's Rod, saying, "Oh, I haven't gotten that Empress's Rod yet," and it got me thinking. Um, the Empress's Resolution came out. Oh man, like over a year ago now, and yeah, it got me thinking. I haven't done it in a while. Of course, when it first came out, super exciting. It was like this new trial content. It was really amazing. Um, was really excited to see sort of Gumi doing something neat and interesting and innovative with the game. Was really hopeful that that was going to keep going, and of course, they just crushed all of our dreams earlier this year when they announced that they were not going to continue doing anything with Chamber of Vengeance. But anyways, all that to say, the comment got me thinking about, at this point, power creep basically should dictate that there should be a first turn KO strategy or team out there at this point. And indeed there is. I'm sure there are others out there, but my own natural curiosity, I wanted to see if I could pull off a first turn kill myself. And so just off the top of my head, I was like, of course, Genesis is, he is the god of first turn kills currently in global. And so with leader skills, Genesis, surely we can kill this thing on the first turn. Now, with all that being said, it's still not necessarily an easy feat, something that anybody can necessarily do. It does still require strong units, of course, requires Genesis. I mean, there are probably other units out there that can do it. This is just, with the units that I have at my disposal, this was the easiest and most consistent first turn kill strategy I could come up with. And it gets the 5-turn mission done. So if you still haven't done the Rod, but you have these units and you have the gear and you're like, I want that Empress's Rod so I can finally get that morale boost in my Clash of Wills clears. Here we go. This is the team, and this is the strategy that you're going to use. So basically, Sylvie just needs to have her Brave Shift, needs to be EX2, so you can use her Brave Shift at LB. You could also use somebody else. You could use someone, you could use like Roberta, just somebody that's got a good full buff with an LB damage buff. Roberta's works just as well, because hers does a 350 full buff with a 300% LB buff, whereas Sylvie's is a 400% buff and a 250 LB buff. So, small differences. Either one of those units works here in that slot. Gear is irrelevant. With Rain, you just need to stack him to the max, give him all the best gear you can, and just make sure that he is full up on human and fairy killers. It's only 2 races, human and fairy, so we've got 300 to both. And 400 LB damage, so we're overcapped on LB damage, but that's fine. And yeah, so Rain is the best here for this particular strategy because his Brave Shifted LB is locked to fire, so you don't have to worry about imbuing him or anything like that. You can just buff him, and boom, he's ready to go. All right, Genesis. All right, Genesis Sword. Prophet's Diadem is the best hat for him. Otherwise, Clash Gear. Fina's Summer Jacket is pretty cool. If you have Beach Fina, this STMR does 50% human and fairy killer with 80 flat mag, which is pretty nice. So I threw that on him because that's a really nice equip for him. And then you're just capping up his MP and making sure you've capped up his killers. 300 human, 300 fairy, good to go. And then I gave him the Moonlit Night Parade vision card. This is the best vision card for him currently. If you would have gotten this if you pulled on Malphase. If you did not pull for this one, hopefully you have Dazzling Demoness. That one should work just as well in this strategy. We're going to do a fair bit of overkill here with this team. Vaughn doesn't need anything. Just has to be EX2 so that he can use his LB. And even then, that might not be necessary. I only say use his LB because it does human killer on it. But if you only have an EX0, EX1 Vaughn, you might still be able to get away with using Oil and My Brother's Gone. You can probably do that, and it would be just as fine. I don't think he has a killer buff. No, he doesn't have a killer buff in his kit. It's only attached to his LB and SLB. I'll be using his LB, but I think you could also use Oil and his Magnus if you only have an EX0 or EX1 Vaughn. I think it should still work just fine. Because like I said, we'll do a fair bit of overkill here. She has, I think, 3.3 billion HP, so we got to do at least 3.3, and that should do it. I'll show you my friend's gear here. Komochi has an EX2 rain, so it will work with an EX2 rain, should be just fine. Again, best gear you can slap on him, make sure he is up on his killers and his LB damage. So 300 human, 300 fairy, 300 LB damage, good to go. All right, let's get in there and see how we do this on the first turn. I've got 5 minutes left before maintenance hits. Think we can do this? Speed run. All right. So we're gonna go as fast as we can. So Vaughn just does his LB. Sylvie just does her Brave Shifted LB. Genesis just does Ancient Epic Purgatory. All right, we're gonna shift my friend Rain. All right, make sure you shifted so they're chaining together. Mine's already shifted, so we basically just chain it up, send Genesis, and watch Morgana melt away. And there we go. First turn kill, 5 units, so that gets you the rod. Let's see how much overkill we did. 4.3. We did over $1 billion worth of overkill on the first turn. All right, that felt pretty good. So there's some room there if your units aren't quite as strong. Maybe you've only got an EX2 Rain. Maybe your Genesis only has, Dazzling Demoness, or you don't have the Prophet's Diadem or something like that. Plenty of room there. You can see Genesis is carrying the fight heavy, right? Doing 2.3 billion by himself. And then, Rain chipping in $1 billion. So you see my Rain and my Genesis alone did enough to kill the boss. And then, Komochi was just there, adding some, the cherry on top, a little bit of icing to the cake to make sure we got it done. Really, if your Rain is strong enough and your Genesis is strong enough, you just need a chain partner. You could bring Richt, although Richt doesn't have, Richt probably wouldn't work very well because he's not fire locked. So you'd have to give him like a fire weapon or something like that. But, you get the idea. You need somebody that can chain triple Mirror of Equity. Might as well just bring a Flaring Ether Rain friend, even if they're EX2, EX1. Doesn't really matter as long as they have their Brave Shift available and they can chain with your Rain. All right. So yeah, that's how we got that one done in 5 turns. That might be asking too much for some people out there, but I was just curious. I wanted to see. And there you go. First turn KO against Morgana. It's certainly to be expected after sitting on this trial for over a year now. So, hopefully this was helpful, or at the very least, hopefully this was entertaining to all of you guys out there. Thank you so much for following me, and I will see you on the other side.